Welcome to Hard Beautiful Journey, where we embrace vulnerability as our superpower and let courage light our path. I'm Tiff Carson, here to share heartfelt stories of healing, grief, and resilience. Each week, I'll talk with guests from experts to everyday heroes about their journeys through adversity. Together, we'll uncover the beauty that emerges from life's challenges and how each experience can spark profound growth. Join us on this courageous journey of connection and transformation. Hey everyone, welcome back to Hard Beautiful Journey. We talk a lot about transformation on this podcast, about how life can break us open, shake up everything we thought we knew, and lead us into something completely unexpected. But sometimes that transformation isn't just about personal growth, it's about stepping into an entirely new way of being. My guest today is York Wang, and he is someone who went through a massive shift, one that took him from living what he calls a normal life, caught up in everyday distractions, to discovering a deep, energetic world beyond what most of us can even imagine. It all started during COVID when he stumbled upon something called the Sedona Method, a practice centered around letting go. And when I say he dove in, I mean dove in. For months, he spent hours a day in a deep state of emotional release, so much so that his entire body and consciousness shifted. And that's when things got wild. One night, York had a dream. Or at least what he thought was a dream. A luminous, otherworldly being pulled him into full lucidity and started showing him information through holographic images. He later realized this was an Arcturian being, one of many higher dimensional entities he would go on to work with. That encounter cracked open something in him, and from that moment on, he started channeling, healing, and tapping into energetic tools that defy logical explanation, but they work. At first, he thought, okay, maybe I'm losing it, but then people around him started verifying what he was experiencing. He healed himself, then his family, then a neighbor with a serious medical condition, and that was just the beginning. Fast forward to today, and York is a professional channeler and energy worker who helps others expand their consciousness, heal, and tap into their own limitless potential. And lucky for us, he's here to not just talk about his work, but I'm hoping he'll actually demonstrate this work live on the show. So, welcome to the podcast, York. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me here.
I have a ton of questions. I have a ton of questions because I have started to go through my own spiritual awakening, and I thought that I knew everything about what you can experience in a spiritual awakening, but I was wrong. And I
Mhm.
can't wait to talk to you about your experience and how you got to living, quote unquote, a normal life to doing what you're doing now. So, looking back on your life, what was that moment where you knew that your life was never going to be the same? And was it oh crap, something big is happening right now kind of moment?
Yeah, so I would say I've had a couple of those moments actually. The first one was when, as you said earlier in that beautiful summary, during the Sedona Method, when I began letting go of everything, letting go of all resentments, all judgments, and anything negative,
Hmm.
I began feeling within my body like a complete happiness and euphoria and ecstasy. And I just felt so light that no matter what someone else outside of me did or said, I was just so in love with them and the world that nothing could faze me. And that was the very first experience of like, okay, as wild as it sounds, I kind of understand why spiritual teachers are able to show so much love
Hmm.
even throughout, like, painful circumstances.
Mhm,
And that was one of the biggest openings for me.
mhm.
The other ones, as you said, also are, like, seeing it reflect back to me that this stuff actually works, healing myself, healing other people, and just testing these things was really important for me, for my own growth. Yeah.
So, let's get into that moment where you really felt the presence and another being there guiding you and helping you.
Right. So, it all happened first within the dream. So, I had a regular dream, I got pulled into a lucid dream.
Mhm,
They showed me a bunch of stuff such as oneness, the polarity of light and dark, interconnectedness,
mhm.
and a bunch of big concepts, but all holographically and pretty much downloaded instantly, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
And then the day after that, there was a time where my friend sent me an article, and that article had the exact images that I saw holographically in 2D. So pretty much
Really?
just picture.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
The next day.
The next day,
Wow.
and I was like, "Okay, there's something there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's something there for this." So that what gave me the push to actually try the things that they taught me within the dreams,
Mhm.
and then that kinda snowballed to what it is now, just
So,
creating.
what were they showing you? What were they getting you to try in the dream?
So they taught me certain processes for healing,
Mm,
pretty much teaching me to access certain states of consciousness, how to work with light in that way,
mhm,
and then yeah, so it's kinda broad because 'cause I'm
mhm,
not supposed to share too much detail about it,
mhm.
but, yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Okay, so in your bio, you did say, "If I'm already crazy, there's no harm in at least trying what these beings were telling you." I love that you said that because honestly, I agree. There are so many people that hesitate stepping into something new because it feels scary or not what they planned for their lives, right? What would you say
Yeah.
to somebody who feels like they're on the edge of something really big or different happening for them, but they're too afraid to
Mm.
take that leap?
I'd say if you want to experience something different, if you want a different life, then you have to do something different. If you keep on doing the same things, then you can't expect reality to reflect back to you a different image. And I think life is all about exploring, right? If you do something, the same thing over and over again, you'll eventually get tired of it. So I feel like even if you make a fool of yourself, it's not a big deal. You just laugh about it and you move on.
And there's joy in laughing at some of the stuff
Mhm.
that you try. And, like, for example, everybody knows that follows me knows that I just tried learning how to play the drums. And I
Mhm.
had a blast. I was not the best at it, but I had a great time. And it was a way for me to explore something that I knew I wanted to try, but ended up
Yeah.
not fully enjoying it as much as I thought I did. So, but
Mhm.
there's so many examples of that, right? Where people are afraid to take that leap and try something new.
Yeah. And I think it's like if you didn't try it, then you always think about what if I did.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I love that your cat is meowing because I feel like, is it a girl or a boy?
that one's a boy.
That one's a boy. What is it saying?
Mhm.
I'm very curious.
I don't know what it's saying, but it's
Is
probably
it
saying, "Let
hungry?
me out."
Let me out of the room. I want to play. Mine is usually hanging out on that chair and like being very mischievous. So I had to
Mhm.
kick her out. So I love that your cat is there. Okay. So letting go versus holding on. So here is something that I've always wondered about, right? My work in my podcast, Hard Beautiful Journey, it means
Yeah.
figuring out what things are meant to be released. And you said that in the early stages, you were doing a lot of letting go. and a lot
Mhm.
of figuring out what to let go of. Since your journey started with learning how to let go, how do you know what you're supposed to surrender and what you're supposed to keep and integrate more in your life?
I would say, although might sound a little too over the top, I'd say let go of everything, um, even the positive emotions, because when you let go of both the negative and positive, you reach a state where you go beyond the mind. You
Mm,
let go of identity completely. And what's behind that is pure awareness. It's pure, unadulterated well being.
mhm,
And it's not something that I hear very often, but I think the thing is, there's a lot of importance put on the mind these days about if I don't think about everything I'm doing, then I'm going to go bananas or I'm going to go down the wrong path. I'm going to be stupid and things like that.
mm,
But I think the reverse is once you become identified with pure awareness and you let go of the mind, essentially, you become in control of the mind in the sense of you don't allow the mind to run you, but instead you're using it in a way that's creative and constructive.
mm. I
And there's
sorry, go on. I'm so, like, intrigued by this. Okay, keep going.
uh But all I was saying is you might think that positive emotion is the end, but beyond that, there's a depth within awareness that's undescribable by emotions.
And how long did it take for you to get to that point in your journey?
That took me 3 months or so
And
of
could you feel yourself doing that process of letting go of the hard and the beautiful and
mhm.
getting to that stage?
Yes, yes. I started with the negatives.
Mhm,
I would recommend that as well. There's a sort of, map to which emotions to let go of first.
mhm,
Not a direct map, but it's kind of like a general roadmap.
mhm,
So, basically, it's called ag flap. So, apathy is the first emotion, which is the lowest frequency and vibration.
mhm,
Grief is above that.
mhm,
Fear is above that. Lust is above that. Anger is above that. Pride, and then contentment, I think openness, and then peace.
mm.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So you let
So
go of
you start
all
with apathy.
mhm, yes.
Okay. And then the next one was grief.
Mhm,
So that was gonna be my next question is one of the pillars of my healing heart journey framework is nurture your soul, which is all about spiritual healing. If
mhm,
someone listening right now is carrying deep grief or just
mm.
feels lost, how where do they start? Like, what's the first step in shifting, I guess, first out of apathy and out of grief? How does that work?
So, there's 2 different approaches that you can approach it from. The first one is first feeling it completely, and then from that place of acceptance, you ask yourself 3 questions, which is, "Can I let this go? Yes or no? Would I let this go? Yes or no? And when can I let this go?" So you're asking these questions not from your mind, but you're asking it from your heart, which is an inherent knowing. You're not thinking about like, oh, I can let this go, maybe.
Mhm,
You're just very clear on like, I can't let this go right now, or I can let this go. And whatever your answer, as long as you're honest, it'll release some resistance. So you just continue repeating that process until you completely uh, felt all there is that needed to be felt,
mhm.
receive the message that needs to be received, and then it'll let go by itself.
Okay, so can you give me when you were going through this process, I know
Mhm.
some of them are deeply personal to you, but are there any examples that you can give me that you can share with me and my listeners of different things that you were releasing and how you
Yeah.
use those 3 questions?
Mhm. I was releasing on past relationships, um, ideas around, like, betrayal, uh, friendship loss,
Mhm.
like, those ideas,
Mhm.
and pretty much I'd release all the aspects within that. So, ideas of, like, how did I feel in that relationship? Um, did I hurt someone? Did I perceive myself to be hurt by them?
Mhm.
What did I perceive them to do? Can I let go of what they did to me? Or can I let go of my ideas of what relationships are supposed to be like? So, whatever topics that you have an emotional charge on, that's what you would let go.
And how do you determine if you have an emotional charge on it? Is it how your heart feels or how your mind feels or both?
Mhm. You would look within your body. So, when you there's like a specific process where it's pretty quick, but you just tip your head down like this, and then you sense bringing your awareness into your stomach area,
Mhm.
and then you think of whatever circumstance that you might have felt like you've been hurt. And then you'll feel a kinesthetic feeling in your body. But if you go a little beyond that, you'll feel like an energetic, a less dense version of it. So then that's what you would feel completely. And that's what you would ask those three questions towards.
And sorry, can you repeat those 3 questions again?
Yeah. Can I let go of this, whatever topic it is?
Mhm.
Would I let go of this? And when can I let go of this?
And if you feel that when is answered with a no, when do you come back to it? Like how the next day, the next like in an hour, like when do you think that it's appropriate or I don't know, like I've never done this exercise, so I'm curious if I do it right now, if I try
Yeah.
again later tonight or tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
would it feel different?
Yes, you can actually do it right away. Um, so you'll answer the last question with whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be yes or no for that one,
Mhm.
but that's pretty much just a gauge of where you're at in this current snapshot. But in the next moment, after you do that same process, you might find that you can let that go instantly.
Mhm.
That's happened many times for me. But
Has it?
yeah.
And so
Mhm.
when you were going through the different emotions, was it harder to get through those 3 questions on the lower, the lower energies or the higher ones or both?
It depends what you have an attachment to. Because, some people are very addicted to negative feelings. And at
Mhm,
the same time, many people are addicted to positive ones. And that's not necessarily a good thing because
mhm,
when you have an attachment towards something, the moment you're not in that state, that
mhm.
means you're in complete lack or you're in complete wanting to be in that state.
That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So so one of the things that I'm always talking about and is gratitude. Is that
Mhm.
something that I should let go of?
Gratitude, you can let go of that. However, I would say gratitude is actually one of the emotions that's within the range of positivity that you don't necessarily need to let go of. Because gratitude or appreciation has this quality of bringing more good things into your life.
Mhm.
So it's not about not allowing yourself to feel gratitude or appreciation. It's more so letting go of the attachment to gratitude or those feelings.
Okay, I get it. I get it. So if I'm not being a grateful person, then I'm a bad
Mhm.
person. Is that the attachment that I need to let go of rather than the actual feeling of being grateful?
Right, right, right. Exactly.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so this process you said for you took 3 months, and in your bio, you said that you felt a lightness that you had never experienced in your life before. I know that that is something that a lot of people would be so wanting in their lives, right? So is that when you started doing more work and channeling and doing all of that to help other people do what you've done?
So there was actually an integration process for me for
Mhm,
actually like a year or two where I was just consistently practicing my skills. And
mhm,
I wasn't necessarily looking to put it out there on a public scale,
mhm,
but I was just offering it to whoever I came across that needed whatever I had.
mhm.
So it kind of developed naturally in that sense.
So when you were giving in that dream, is that something that you were
Mhm.
shown in that dream? Is that you needed to do the work on yourself and integrate first and then help other people? Like, were you shown that or was that later on?
They didn't really direct me with for that.
Mhm.
They kind of just gave me the teachings and then left me to my own devices for a little bit.
Really? Did
Yeah,
that
I mean
freak you out?
I mean, they, like, consistently taught me, but they
Mhm.
never gave me directions on, like, where to use it or, like, what to use it for,
Yeah,
and I'm kind of guessing that that's just in my yeah, I'm guessing they can't interfere that much about that area.
right. Okay. That makes total sense. All right. So,
Mhm.
um, are you willing to do a channeling right now with me?
Yeah, I am. It'll take me a moment to, get into the channeling state, and then they'll greet you.
Okay. All right.
"Greetings. How are you today as you create time and space?
I'm good.
Where would you like to take this conversation?"
I'm I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have never done this before.
"Alright. Well, what are you curious about?"
I'm curious about my future with my podcast and books and yeah, just what the next phase of my life could look like.
All right. Well, what it could look like would be dependent on your state of consciousness, your vibration, your frequency. Do you understand there's no such thing as a set reality, future probability? It's all probability. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So imagine there are infinite amount of probabilities or infinite frames of reality that exist here and now. What that means is your consciousness is constantly projecting into each frame to show you and reflect back to you in your physical experience whatever is correspondent to your frequency and vibration.
Mhm.
And that is the same for your future, meaning, depending on your beliefs, your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings, that creates your frequency and vibration. And your frequency and vibration then vibrates in such a way it creates resonance with those specific frames within your future, quote unquote, reality for you to experience in time. But it's all happening here and now. It's just your consciousness projecting itself into those frames.
Mm. Mhm. Okay. All right. Um, so how okay. I I don't know what else to ask. Hmm. What other questions do people ask in this channeling stuff?
How about we give you a breakdown of some ideas?
Sure.
All right. So, in our civilization, there's an understanding of the motivational mechanism. This is a simple idea, simply illustrating that you move towards what you perceive to be pleasurable and you move away from what you perceive to be painful. Now, that applies in all circumstances, meaning if there's something in your life that you do not prefer, a pattern that's occurring again and again, that means on some level, you must feel or believe that it is serving you in some way. Otherwise, you would not be going in that direction or recreating it in your experience. That is
Mhm.
one concept.
That is definitely happening for sure.
Would you like us to go on?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, utilizing that motivational mechanism as a framework or as a baseline understanding, you can then explore your belief system. Now, when you see and become aware of aspects of your life that are not in alignment with what you prefer to create, then you can use that motivational mechanism to see what beliefs must I have about that situation that make me perceive this as something pleasurable. So, for example, some people may have the idea of alcoholism. They know on an intellectual level that alcohol is not healthy for you, but on a deeper level, they have the beliefs which may vary across person to person. But just for example, the idea of alcohol can bring community. It's something that brings me relief. It's something that I can use to dumb down the pain, moving away from pain and towards pleasure. Do you see how that works?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So that is the basic description of belief systems. And you need belief systems in order to exist. You have a definition about your reality, and you have to have a definition about reality in order for you to have a reflection back to you. Otherwise, there's no experience at all because everything is fundamentally neutral. You can't have emotions without a belief system creating the emotion. Are you
Mhm.
following?
Yes, following for sure.
All right. So, all you have to do, the next time that you have an emotion come up, you can ask yourself, what must I believe to be true in order to me to feel this way in a relationship to this idea? And asking yourself truthfully, you'll become aware of a belief that you can become aware of and see whether or not you prefer to keep it and stay in alignment with it. If you do not prefer it, all you need to do is simply choose a new one. It's that simple. Although you may have beliefs about how much process you have to go through in order to let go of negative beliefs.
So, you used alcohol as an example, and mine is right now is food. So, I what you're saying is that I can choose another belief around how hard it is to lose weight, be healthy, and choose a different belief.
Correct. Now, you can use other permission slips to allow you to do so. You can look at other people who have gone through the same journey that you prefer to have in the way that you want to do it. Meaning there are people who has lost weight in an enjoyable and joyful way. Yes or no?
Yes.
Then that means what you placed as a definition is simply a belief. And there's an infinite amount of beliefs that you can have regarding any situation. Now, we're not invalidating your belief because certainly in your experience, you have experienced that belief. But that's only a matter of mechanics. understand your beliefs have to reflect back to you what you believe in the first place, meaning your experience will take on the qualities of your beliefs.
Mhm. Okay. Wow, thank you very much. Is there anything else, that you can share with me?
I will share with you the idea of the excitement formula. This is a formula which is a complete toolkit, meaning that if you follow it, you can be sure that you're taken care of. Now, we can say all these things, but you don't have to take our word for it. Instead, what we recommend is that you actually take the time to put these tools to the test. Try these tools, use these tools so that you can reflect its reality back to yourself. So the toolkit goes like this: follow your excitement to the highest degree in any possible circumstance, to the highest degree, as much as you can. Always remain in a positive state. Continue to do this. And no insistence or resistance on what the outcome has to be. When negative beliefs come up, investigate them and replace them with beliefs that you prefer. And lastly, do this over and over again. Now, what we described to you is a toolkit in mechanics. As you follow your excitement, you're raising your frequency and vibration. As you do so, negative beliefs that are no longer in alignment with that higher frequency and vibration will come up to the surface. Now, as they come up to the surface, you have two choices. One choice is to see that negative belief, see how it's dense and not vibrating the way that you're expressing yourself currently, and choose in that moment, perhaps, to go back down to it, to succumb to that negative belief. And when you do so, nothing changes. You'll simply reflect back to you the same reality. Now, the other choice is to, when you see that negative belief come up to the surface, let it go. And as you let it go, you let go of the blocks or distortions within your frequency and vibration, and then you can rise higher and higher in frequency.
Okay. I'm going to do that for sure. I'm gonna try that exercise. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
May I speak to York again?
All right. Once again, we would like to thank your audience and at the same time remind everyone that's listening that we are simply a reflection of your higher mind, the same way that you are a reflection of us. Thank you very much for this co-creation. Aveo.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. That is incredible. My first question is, does that tire you? Does that exhaust your physical body?
It doesn't. In the beginning, it did, but over time, I've become more energized as a result of it.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
you feel a surge of energy go through you?
Hmm.
And do you remember anything afterwards?
Yeah, I do remember bits and pieces.
Uh,
Um, it's sort of like a daydream almost.
wow. Okay, so I know that some people will be skeptical about energy work and channeling in general. I am not one of
Mhm.
them. Have you ever had
Okay.
a moment that even the biggest skeptic in the world could not deny what you've said or done?
Actually, I think that if someone really wants to be a skeptic, there's nothing you can really do to change their mind about it. And I think that's totally fine. I would say I have enough evidence in my own experience that the things I'm experiencing is real. The people who've gotten healings as a result of it,
Mhm.
that's real for sure. So, yeah.
All right. So you've learned from the Arcturians, Shoshana,
Mhm.
and other energies. If you had to sum up the most life-changing thing you've learned from all of them in one sentence, what would it be?
Um, one sentence is crazy, but I would
This is a
say
challenge.
yeah, it is. I would say follow your excitement. Yeah.
That's what was brought up in the channeling.
Mhm.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. All right. So I have to ask, what are you picking up on for me right now outside of the channeling?
Mhm.
What do I need to hear for my journey in this moment? What do you think I need to hear?
Um,
Not my listeners.
well, can you share about what your biggest challenges are at the moment?
This, my human vessel is the biggest one right now.
I see.
And I call it hashtag Project Tiff. And
Mhm.
I go in spurts of like super motivated and then I crash and I don't want
I
to
see.
do it again. So that's my biggest
Yeah,
one.
that's completely fair. I think the entity talked about the motivational mechanism, right?
Mhm.
I would say go back to that idea. When you're using will, you're trying to go against all your beliefs about what it is that you're doing. Um, at the moment, if you have ideas around uh, whatever you're dealing with, that says that your goal, the achievement of that goal might create more pain. You might have to face uh, certain demons or fears within yourself. If you haven't taken care of that, then it's only natural that you try to run away from that, right? So
Mhm.
even if you power through it all the time, at some point you're going to run out of energy and you'll want to go back to your old patterns. But once you've taken care of the fundamental underlying beliefs, once you change your mind about that, moving towards whatever you're looking for is the most natural thing. Even if someone were to hold you away from it, you do everything you can to like break free and run towards it.
Mm.
So I'd say no need to use willpower in that sense.
Mhm.
Um, just place your focus and attention on uh, rewiring your brain and your ideas about what these things mean to you. And there's a really good book I can recommend to you, either now or later, that
You
deals with.
can recommend it now if you'd like.
Okay, sure. There's a series of books by Alan Carr,
Mhm.
Allen space Carr,
Mhm.
and he's really good at kind of breaking down certain beliefs people's have,
Mhm.
and then showing them without judgment as to like why these things don't have to be that way.
Okay.
And I think it's really useful. Yeah.
Okay. I will definitely look into those for sure. This has been amazing. So, before we wrap up, I'd love for you to leave my listeners with something that they can take with them, like a small shift, a practice, or just a thought that can help them feel more connected and aligned or at peace as they go about their day.
I would say that you are loved unconditionally by all that is. And the reason why that is so is because you exist. Um, if you didn't exist, you wouldn't be listening. And if you do exist, that means the universe has deemed you worthy to exist. So don't try to fight against reality and just accept that you're here for a reason. You're here to grow. You're here to experience many things. And I love you and I wish you the best.
Awesome. I love that. I close every episode asking my guests what they are grateful for today. What are
Mhm.
you grateful for today?
I'm very grateful for you. I'm very grateful for my cat. I'm very grateful for the sun and everything around me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I am grateful for, well, today I was grateful that it warmed up slightly here in
Mm,
Canada, and it it got up to -8 degrees Celsius from -20
mhm,
something. So I am grateful for that. And I am grateful for you being willing to do a live channeling with me and the messages that you gave me from within. So and I understand that those messages are actually from within myself, right?
mhm.
So
Yes, 100%.
I love that. So thank you again so much for being on the show. And yeah, everybody, if you want to look up York, this is where you can find him. His email is there, his YouTube channel, and his Discord. Can you explain what Discord is for those who have absolutely no idea what that is?
Yeah, so Discord is a community. Um, Pretty much you can join a server, and in that server, I have a lot of tools, some free, some more premium ones. And then that's where I offer channeling. I also do free channeling group sessions from
Mhm,
on the weekends from time to time,
mhm.
and I announce all that there. I don't have anything on my YouTube at the moment, but you can also reach me at my Gmail.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much again. I'm truly, truly grateful for you being here today, York.
All right, thank you so much, Steph. I love this conversation.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Hard, Beautiful Journey. I hope today's episode inspired you to embrace your own vulnerabilities and recognize the strength within you. Remember, every story of resilience adds to the beauty of our shared journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and leave a review. Your support helps me spread hope and healing to even more listeners. Until next time, keep shining your light and embracing the beauty in your journey. Bye bye.